is a presentation of the Big Blue Sports Network.
For this edition of the Cats, the process of coming together began in the heat of the summer. First, there was a tour of Canada. Then the start of practice and 2 exhibition games, but now the chase for a championship begins for real. It's a road the Cats expect will put them in the big dance, and tonight it begins with a team they met in last year's NCAA tournament, the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State. It's the regular season opener for Kentucky, and it's next on the Big Blue Sports Network.
From Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, it's University of Kentucky Wildcat basketball. Tonight, it's the University of Kentucky Wildcats versus the East Tennessee Buccaneers. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com. By the Kentucky Office of Employment and Training. By Great Clips. By KCTCS. Higher education begins here. And by State Farm. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com.
I guess you could refer to it as an odyssey. They say it's a marathon, not a sprint. However you want to refer to it, the long regular season begins tonight in Kentucky with questions to answer, and not all the pieces to the puzzle are there as the Cats welcome in East Tennessee State University. Hi again, everybody. Dave Baker alongside the Wildcat All-American Kyle Macy. Kyle, unless you've been in a hole, you know the word that Ennis Canis declared ineligible last night. Kentucky will appeal, but now the Cats know that they will have to go without the big fella.
Well, that's true. Disappointing news, obviously, for his teammates because they really wanted him a part of the team and gives a whole different dynamic to the team. But what that does, it puts the emphasis on Josh Harrelson and Eloy Vargas to really step up their performance because there has to be some inside presence. Terrence Jones can kind of float in and out of there, but he's not the player that night in, night out is going to be your 5 spot. So one of those other two, Josh Harrelson, as we see here in the highlights, really needs to continually pick it up and show some consistency both offensively and defensively and getting some rebounds.
Of course, Eloy Vargas lost his father earlier this week. He'll leave for the funeral services tomorrow morning. Not sure how much he'll play, but Harrelson will certainly be a big factor against an ETSU team that Kentucky met in the postseason last year, but they are experienced and they will be a challenge for this Kentucky team. We're coming back with the starting lineups and much more as we get set to raise the curtain on the regular season here at Rupp. Dave Baker, Kyle Macy back at Rupp Arena. The third member of our broadcast crew is Rob Bromley. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Dave. Our UK Healthcare Injury Report. Laryngitis and sore throats don't count. That's what I'm down with here tonight. Over on the East Tennessee State side, Tommy Hubbard very doubtful, we understand, but everything for the Wildcats is in good shape. Dave, our UK Healthcare Injury Report.
Thanks, Robert. Rob Bromley is a gamer. And to get this game underway, Doug Shows tosses it up. He's working with Lee Cassell and Chuck Jones, and ETSU has the ball to open the 2010 regular season.
And as Kentucky has done all preseason, man-to-man defense, trying to be sticky, attack the ball.
I would not be surprised if we don't see the Cats in a zone before the night is over. There's Smith, who you talked about, and Salazzo. Spinning on the baseline against Miller. Nice defense by Darius. And Salazzo got it back and put up a bad shot.
Now here you'll see with East Tennessee State defensively, they'll what they call the heat-up line, which is the three-point line. They'll try to attack the ball maybe a step beyond that. Otherwise, they're going to let the team swing it side to side, pressure on the ball, and try to guard all 5 players.
Wow. We talked about Josh Harrelson. He got the first rebound of the game. And his first shot gives Kentucky a 2-0 lead as John Calipari looks on.
It'll be interesting to see how East Tennessee State attacks that full court pressure. They are a pressing team. A lot of times you say you can attack a pressing team by pressing them back. We'll see if that takes effect tonight.
Smith on the bounce against Harrelson, who got a piece of it. ETSU man-to-man so far. Here's Jones as he works against Williams. Liggins with his first touch, and it's Salazzo who draws the foul on the drive.
Coach Calipari up off the bench talking to his team. Too much perimeter passing. You see Murray Bartow on his side calling out the one half-court defense out of bound baseline.
The 15th head coach in the 81-year history of ETSU basketball. 240 career wins. He earned 100 wins in his first 6 years as head coach. Of course, a career at UAB and here. And he's not only a good guy, Kyle, he's a really good basketball coach.
Yeah, real good mind. Obviously has great genes. Gene Bartow, former coach of UCLA and Memphis. So he grew up around the game.
Speaking of good genes, Brandon Knight has certainly got that basketball lineage. He drives through the ETSU defense to give Kentucky a 4-0 lead, and in the backcourt, Murray Bartow takes a timeout before the Buccaneers get caught for a 10-second violation.
Yeah, and I think also what he's talking about this timeout is there you see we talk about their packed defense. You don't allow a man to get all the way to the rim, as Brandon Knight did that time for the layup. Once that penetration is made, there should be 3, if not 4 other guys in front, stopping the basketball from going to the basket. Again, this is an experienced ETSU team. You wouldn't expect that breakdown this early in the contest.
One thing about it, though, is, and Murray Bartow talked to us about this today, you know, they play at that mid-major level, and there are some guys that have obviously been in the NCAA tournament, guys like Justin Tubbs, the transfer from Alabama, who have been in arenas like this before. But you never know for sure how this group as a whole is going to react until they turn the lights on.
Yeah, and I think that's added to the fact that this is the first regular season game for both teams. You know, had both teams maybe had a game or two under their belt, they wouldn't have the same amount of nervousness, I think, as you do the very first time out.
Salazzo sets the offense. Here's Isaiah Brown. The first foul whistle tonight against Kentucky will be called against Josh Harrelson.
And then you talk about how the officials call the game. There we see some bumping going on the drive. You got to pick up on those things, start attacking the basket, because it looks like they're calling a lot of attacks. That new emphasis on impeding progress towards the basket.
Kentucky now looks like they've gone zone on the out of bounds. And on the baseline, the bucket and one for Isaiah Brown, who got the first attempt blocked. The second time he was fouled.
Yeah, and Josh Harrelson now picks up his second foul, so he'll have to go to the bench as Eloy Vargas checks in. But did you see a good block on the first to drive, but just late reacting, got all across the wrist. Good strength to finish that one by Brown.
And Kyle, here we go. We haven't played 2.5 minutes yet. Harrelson on the bench with 2 fouls. Vargas comes in having dealt with whatever he's dealing with this week, emotionally, with the death of his father as Brown hits. And then I'm noticing now that there is a brace on Eloy's left knee. First time I believe I've seen him with that here in the preseason. As ETSU applies the pressure. Jones beats it, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And one thing about these early games is Coach Calipari, again, up screaming to his team. You learn a lot about your team, and that's what you're preparing for, getting ready for conference play, getting ready for the SEC tournament.
Calipari, throughout this preseason, has been talking about toughness as you look at the brace on the knee of Eloy Vargas. And he was up screaming at Jones to dunk that basketball. He wants this team to be tougher. It's something every time I've been to a practice, he has preached and preached and preached on, and something that he has not gotten to anywhere near the level he wants yet.
Well, especially after that Pikeville game, that's the one that really exposed that the Cats just didn't really respond to the physical play that Pikeville showed during that contest. So trying to emphasize that more in practice and then carry over to the game.
2 points, the Kentucky lead. Brown trying to even things, and he does. As Isaiah Brown has got all 5 ETSU points, and we're tied for the first time.
And one thing you'll learn about your team in a situation like this, you've got your backup postman in foul trouble who had to start the game. You've got your new guy in. Who's going to step up with these young players and take that leadership role in a game situation?
Kentucky in the half-court offense. Here's Miller on the curl. Good defense out top by Smith. Darius got a step but couldn't keep it. And the turnover against Kentucky, their first. Here come the Buccaneers. Williams. And Kentucky comes out with the loose ball.